So welcome back to the parasitic nematode. The third one we have is Wuchereria, and it is a filarial nematode. Wuchereria bancrofti. It has a widespread distribution throughout the world except for the polar regions. The filarial worm is a dreaded human parasite, and it is a digenetic parasite. That is, it completes its life cycle in two different horse. The final horse, or where the adult filarial worm is found, it is the humans. Then the intermediate host, it is a blood-sucking insect. Usually, it is a mosquito, Culex or Aedes mosquitoes. The adult worms lives coiled up in the lymph glands and lymph passages of humans. So that is where they usually are found in the case of human beings. Regarding the morphological features, you can see that the adult worms are here. This is the like anterior end. Okay, this is a photograph of the filarial worm, and this is the anterior part of the female. Okay, it is filiform and cylindrical in shape, and both the body ends they terminate bluntly. Okay, almost like this. This is actually juvenile microfilaria, but still it's almost blunt ending on either side. And sexual dimorphism is exhibited, that the sexes are separate and they show a distinct sexual dimorphism. We can see that the females are larger, longer, and in the case of males, for the posterior end, it is sharply curved ventrally and contain a number of genital papillae, caudal alley, and two unequal copulatory spicules, which all these structures are absent in the case of females. On the other hand, females, you can see here the genital pole or the gonopore or the vulva here. Okay, it is located ventrally in the pharyngeal region. You can see this is the muscular pharyngeal region, the glandular pharynx. So this is the whole pharynx region, and it is in this pharyngeal region the vulva or the genital pole opens in the pharyngeal region, and it is provided with ejector mechanism, or we can say, you can see here the ovejector. Okay, so this structure is also present in the case of females, absent in the case of males. So that is how the sexual dimorphism, as you can see, both male and females do have tapering body and what it calls bluntly ending posterior anterior ends. In the case of males, it is smaller than females, and posterior end is sharply curved ventrally, containing a number of genital papillae, caudal alley, and two unequal copulatory spicules. But in the case of females, in the pharyngeal region, they do have the gonopore in the pharyngeal region associated with an ovejector mechanism. Okay, so this is the sexual dimorphism we are speaking about. Regarding the life cycle, the copulation takes place when both sexes are present in the same lymph gland, and the female, they are viviparous or almost like ovoviviparous. They release numerous juveniles, and these juveniles are known as microfilaria. Okay, these are microfilaria. Okay, these microfilaria are actually born in a very immature stage. That is, they are microscopic and surrounded by a very delicate cuticular sheath, which contain rudiments of various adult structures. And they almost like not like a juvenile, but more like an embryo they are. And the body of microfilaria consists of a surface covering of flattened epidermal cells and an inner column of cytoplasm. Here you can see almost the structure of microfilaria in blood. Okay, and the microfilaria, they are discharged into lymph vessels. These then enter the blood vessels and circulate with blood, showing active movements. They migrate to reside ultimately in the deeper blood vessels of the thorax. Yeah, but they do not undergo further development until it reaches the intermediate house, that is a mosquito. So till then it remains in the what they call a microfilarial stage, and that too in the blood vessels of the thorax. When we speak about the microfilaria, they do have a future mouth. You can see here the oral stylet, and then a nerve band ring. The nerve ring is also found in the case of adults, over here you can see. Then they have the nephridiophore and Rennet cells, you can see here, and darkly staining inner mass, 4 large cells, and the future anal opening. So all these are found in the microfilariae. The structure of microfilariae is almost similar to the adult. Okay. Then what happens to the microfilariae later? So as already mentioned, it remains in the blood vessels of the thorax. In the blood of man, microfilariae show day and night periodicity. That is the movement. It is it shows a diurnal rhythm. During the daytime, they live in the deep-seated blood vessels, while during the night, they come to the peripheral vessels in the skin, that is towards the superficial vessels, okay, closer to the skin. And then during the night time, these Culex and the Aedes mosquitoes, they are active during the night time, so they suck the what you call blood, and along with that, these what you call juveniles also get into the what you call intermediate host. Okay, so these microfilariae, they move towards the peripheral blood vessels during night time and get sucked up by the nocturnal mosquitoes, that is the Culex and Aedes, which serve as the intermediate host. Fine. The microfilariae in the human blood, it eventually die unless it is taken or sucked up by the mosquitoes from the infected humans, or otherwise it will get it dies off. Okay, now reaching the insect. Okay, since along with the blood means it is the food, so it reaches the stomach. After reaching the stomach, the microfilariae, it loses their sheath, outer covering, penetrate the stomach wall, and then migrate to the thoracic musculature. You can see here, okay, thoracic muscles or the wing musculature. They change first to a what you call plump sausage-shaped organism, later to a more elongated form, and finally to a long, slender juvenile of the third infective stage. Okay, this is the infective juvenile. So this happens inside the musculature of the mosquito. Now the microfilariae undergo 2 molds in about 10 days to reach the third stage larvae, and the infective juveniles now migrate into this mosquito's labium, that is the mouth parts. Okay, infective juveniles gets transferred to the to the proboscis. Okay, and then when such kind of mosquitoes pierces its proboscis into another human host, the infective juveniles, they come out of the labium and it enters the human blood. Okay, and in the human host, the juveniles pass into the lymph glands and lymph passages, where they coil up and develop into adult worms, and then it will continue with the life cycle. So this is how it happens. Okay, so the pathogenesis, when we speak about the lighter infection, it doesn't cause any serious symptoms. It causes like fiery fever, mental depression, headache, etc. But in case of heavy infection, the accumulation of living worms as well as dead worms eventually block the lymphatic vessels and lymph glands and result in in different kinds of pathological conditions. The most severe kind of this one is the infection is the immense swelling of the affected body parts. You can see over here. Okay, the typical ones, it is the swelling of the lower part of the body. Okay, and this is known as the elephantiasis or filariasis. And due to the lymphatic obstruction, the lymph cannot get back into the circulatory system. It accumulates into the organs and causes them to swell and enlarge into very extreme proportions. Okay, in severe cases, abnormal connective tissue forms in the affected areas to further complicate the condition. So this is about the Wuchereria, and since there is a vector, there is a there are mosquitoes which carry the what you call the infective stage from one host to another. The most important preventive measure is protection from the mosquito bite. Okay, so this is about the Wuchereria, and we have seen the morphological feature of adult microfilarial worm or the juvenile stage, and how it gets transmitted from one host to another, and the life cycle of the Wuchereria, which occurs in the human body as well as what happens in the mosquitoes. Okay, fine. Thank you.